So we're gonna start with our block sit up first, just to kind of warm up our hips and our backs. So you'll put your block the wide, flat way behind you, and you will set it so that when you arrive to the block, it hits you just a little above your bra line. Not below, but a little above. And then start upright. Yeah. And hold the backs of your knees and just pull yourself up a little taller. So you're really parked on your sit bones. And then try to maintain all that height as you reach your arms forward. You'll just start to roll behind your sit bones. So you're not so much leaning with your shoulders, but you're revolving your pelvis around your leg bones. You're gonna touch down onto the block, and then you're gonna take a big arc back over the block. You can take an arm circle around, gather yourself, hold behind your legs. See if you can feel kind of a straight line from head to tail, and then pick yourself up chest first, as though you had a puppet string from your chest to bring you up. And then you're gonna do that again. So normally we go back with a flat spine, but we're gonna take a couple where we just roll. So you're just changing your pelvis relative to your legs. Once you hit the block, you arc back, open the chest, circle around, and then find your straight line, hold behind your legs, and you're just gonna hinge at the hip. So you keep your trunk fixed and you change your hip joints. One more time like that, just rolling under. Touch down to the block, open the chest, circle it around, and then float up. Now we're gonna try it the more traditional way. So you'll bring your forearms together, really root down through your feet, and now see if you can keep a straight back all the way back to the block. If you have to roll a little bit, it's okay. Then you can arc. You can just keep your forearms together, reach them back behind you, and then pick up your forearms. Find the level of head and chest, and then float up. Obviously harder when you don't have your hands pulling you. We'll take two more like that. So you're just gonna hinge back. Reach your sit bones to your heels, to some kind of opposition, and then open the chest. Let that thoracic spine start to mobilize. Pick the arms up and hinge. To the top. Good, one more time. Good, open the chest. And then come back up. Big exhale to hinge back. And then just take a little forward bend over your legs so that your back can round. Move your block out of the way and then come down onto your back. We're gonna put your block on your right hand as though you are holding a tray. Try to extend your wrist back enough that your hand is level to the floor. So you've got a 90-degree angle at your wrist. And then you'll just press your block up towards the ceiling, so your shoulder blade has to rise off the mat, and then slide your shoulder blade back into your spine. So you're pushing the block up, and you're bringing it back down. And you might already be starting to feel a little burning through your forearm if you're not used to stretching your wrist back this far. It's okay, it's just working in a way it's not used to doing. And keep your shoulders slightly up, and then you'll spin your whole arm externally and internally. Sometimes we'll do this with just a fist. This is our keyhole arm rotation, just with the variation of holding the block. And then you're gonna keep your arm externally rotated. You can reach to hold onto your bicep with the other hand, and then spin only your forearm. So you're spiraling those two forearm bones around each other. It's because of those bones that we're able to turn doorknobs and jar lids and screwdrivers and things like that. And then you'll keep your fingers pointing backwards. Now you're going to take your hand an arm back alongside your ear. Your wrist will get straighter as you go. And then you'll pick your arm back up and your wrist will get more extended as you lift. So you're attempting to keep your block level to the floor all the time. So your wrist joint has to respond to the change in your arm angle. And then lift back up. And one more like that. Let your wrist extend and straighten. And then you'll switch sides. So if you're right side dominant, you might be more flexible or more strong on the right side. Left side might be a little tighter. You'll see. And then you'll just keep your wrist as extended back as you can. You'll pick your block up towards the ceiling and then pull it back down. So for this moment, your elbow stays straight and it's actually a scapular movement that's happening. So your shoulder blade is going away from your spine out towards your side and then back in towards your spine. And that's how your arm lifts and lowers. It's kind of like active cat and lazy cat that we do on all fours sometimes. Same action. And then you'll float your arm a little bit so your blade isn't pulled into your spine too much. Go into your keyhole rotations. So for the first few, your entire arm spins. Try to keep your block level to the floor all the time. And then when it's done spinning, you keep it externally rotated, hold on to your bicep with your other hand, and spin only your forearm. In and out. And then you'll keep your fingers pointing back towards your head. Start to slide your arm back behind you. The wrist will get straighter as you go. And then pick your arm back up and the wrist will get more extended. So your shoulder blade has to follow your arm in any direction your arm goes. Shoulder blade has to follow. So when your arm goes overhead, you might feel your shoulder blade sliding up your back towards the back of your head. So that's normal and correct. So don't try to hold your shoulder blade down in a fixed position as you take your arm back. Take one more like that. Just see if you can observe how the shoulder blade moves in response to your arm. And then you bring it back up. You're going to put your block underneath your feet, sideways, the flat way. So this is a little narrower than we'd normally like our feet for shoulder bridge, and then your feet are also curled, because most of our feet are longer than the block. So toes might be curling over the front edge, heels might be curling over the back edge. You'll press your arms down, go into your pelvic tilt, and just notice if your heels got heavier. They probably did. And then go back down. So this time, see if you can root the ball of your foot a little bit more, even as you go into your 12 o'clock tilt, and then rise up into your shoulder bridge without losing the pressure through the ball of your foot. And then lower back down. And yes, you might get a cramp in your hamstrings. I think the solution is to just keep moving so you don't freeze into that cramp moment, and then take another shoulder bridge. Pull your toes towards your heels, like you're trying to slide the block underneath your hips, and then roll back down. Stay in motion. It's a lot to ask of these hamstrings to contract in this small space here. One more time. Make sure you're keeping your chin up so you're not ending up standing on the back of your neck. Roll it back down. And then if you can, pick your block up with your feet, bring it to your hands, and then roll onto your side. You're gonna be kind of in the fetal position. Put your block sideways under your temple, and make sure your head is near the front edge of the block, because you're gonna end up rolling your head to the other side and you don't wanna fall off the block. So the side of your head is pressing down, arms are stacked straight out in front of you, and you'll just lightly push your head, just gently push your head into the block, pick up your arm, follow with your fingertips all the way out to the side. Hip can fall back for a little gentler twist, and then lift your arm back up, or your hip can try and stay stacked for a little more powerful twist. So whatever you need, you do a couple of each. but you want to make sure that your head is following your fingers so that you're doing neck movement as well as shoulder movement. One more like that. Breathing in. Maybe breathe out as you come into that big stretch, and then breathe in to pick your arm back up. To close the hands, then you'll take a half circle with those fingertips. So as your arm draws a line up past your ear, lift your chin a little bit and look towards your fingers. So your chin is doing a little rainbow arc, and then come back the way you came. So we're not completing the circle, we're just doing a half circle. And again, chin goes up. Look over, and eyes follow your fingertips. One more like that. You can even let your eyeballs move in their sockets. It's kind of an interesting thing to observe. And then come back up and over. And then you'll switch sides. So you can either flip over so you can still see me, or you can just roll to the other side. Make sure your head is near the front edge of your block. Palms are stacked together. And then as you inhale, you're going to look up, follow your fingertips. Maybe exhale into that big stretch. And then inhale, lift back up and over. Exhale, close the arms. You could do a little hip hiking on the under waist so that you stay a little bit more even from right to left. And then come back up. It's a little better for twisting if you can be a little more even. One more time. Open. And then you can go into your half circle. So you're going to look up towards your fingertips. Let your eyeballs lift. Let your chin lift. And then arc back up and over the way you came to close the hands. Take it again, lift it up. Lift your chin. Look out to the right. And then lift and close. One more. Last time, up and over. And then you're going to bring yourself onto your backs for hundreds. You'll have your block where your feet will be. So Joseph Pilates says we should do hundreds with our feet 2 inches off the mat. That's a tall order, but we can use the block to help ourselves. So you want your heels on the block with legs straight. Press your palms down and just try a straight-legged shoulder bridge first. So you're going to hardly lift, but try to curl your tail. Try to elevate your pelvis and your rib cage off the mat, and then come back down. That's a ton of work for the back line of your body, especially hamstrings and glutes, but also the backs of your arms. Try another one like that. Pick up. And then lower back down. Last one. Float the hips. And then lower. So that's kind of how much you want your legs to work in hundreds. So you'll raise your arms. Maybe you can even take them back behind you for a moment to get that shoulder stretch. And then pick up your head, curl your neck and shoulders till your shoulder blades are off the mat. And then start your pumping, but keep pushing your feet down into the block. So it's as though you're trying to curl up into your shoulder bridge. You're trying to elevate your pelvis, but you can't. But that's how active your legs are. So it's a little counterintuitive. We feel like we have to use our hip flexors to hold our legs up, but you actually have to push down your legs. So you're using your hamstrings and your glutes. Take 3 more full breaths here. And after your last one, roll all the way down. Stretch your arms back behind you for a nice long reach of your body. And then if you can, pick your block up with your feet. Bring it to your hands. And then you're going to put your block the skinny, tall way between your upper and inner thighs. So the block is standing up and it's narrowly between your legs, ankles are flexed. And we'll go into roll up. So think of that same downward press of your legs. So you'll pick up your head, curl your neck, and as you start to roll up, try to push your legs down more, right? We don't have a strap to hold our feet down like we might in the studio. So we have to do something to hold our legs down. We can't let them fly up off the mat if we can help it. So push your legs down as you roll. Arms can reach overhead if you like that feeling on your shoulders. And then take it again. Lift and come up. Push your legs down. Reach out over your feet. Start to roll back down. Exhale to finish. And take 3 more on your own timing. I like to exhale as soon as it gets hard. Tends to make you a little more pliable through that sticky spot instead of getting rigid. Roll back down. Notice if and when you tend to stop squeezing into the block. And see if maybe a little more consistent squeeze could help you roll more evenly. Nice work. Take 1 more. Lift it up. Stay forward. You can totally bend your knees if you need to. Find your feet. It could be the edges of your feet. It could be the tops of your feet. But pull your blades together a little bit and then try to flex your trunk over that block. So the block kind of prevents you from folding too much at the hip, and it's helping you to bend more up through your trunk. Then you'll roll yourself all the way back down to the mat. And then you'll take your block, turn it the wide way, and put it behind your right thigh so your hands can hold the sides of the block. Push your right thigh into the block until your elbows are straight. Hold that, and then pick up your foot as far as you can, and bend your knee as far as you can. You can even squeeze into the block a little bit. Pick it up, pull it down. It doesn't matter if your knee is able to extend all the way to straight. It just matters that you straighten as far as you can so that you're working all the way into your end range. Leave your leg up on the next one and circle your foot around. The block is there so we keep our hip joint quiet and we just focus on our knee joint and our ankle joints. Circle your foot the other way. And then point and flex through the ankle and the foot. And then we'll do our rocking tree. So you'll keep your foot pointed. Push your leg into your block so much that your shoulders start to come up, your head and neck starts to come up. Now, even when you get to the sticky spot, just keep pushing your leg forward. See if you can just leverage your way up without bending your elbows. And then you roll back down. Keep pushing your leg forward. When you feel like you're going to fall, push your leg more into the block and see if you can get nice and controlled all the way to the bottom. 2 more like that. So we're not using arms. We're not even really using abdominals that much. We're just trying to leverage ourselves up. We're using just a shift of our body weight to pick our trunk up. Push back down. Meanwhile, push your bottom leg down more into the floor. That will also help. Last one to go. Yeah, and where the leg wants to fly up off the mat is usually where we're a little less flexible through our trunk. You'll come back down. Set your block next to your right hip. Kind of hug it into your hip with your hand. And now practice opening your right leg to the right. You're going to feel the block with the side of your hip, but try not to put weight on the block. How far out can your leg go? And then pick it back up. And try that again. So we're not letting our leg fall away from center into gravity, but we're actually abducting our leg, using our outer thigh and outer hip, and then adducting it to pick it up. 1 more like that. And pick it up. Start your single leg circle. You can leave your block there. Turn your whole pelvis to the left Circle your leg down and around, and as it comes up to the right, it doesn't weigh anything on the block. So you're managing that outer arc of the circle by doing something in your center and in your hip muscles so that you're not flinging or swinging your leg around at all. 2 more. Last one. At the top, change direction. Open the leg as far out as you can without leaning on the block. Then take it down and rotate the leg across. Inhaling to start the circle. Exhale, turn the pelvis. Utilize your twist and your exhale to work for each other. Right? The deeper you exhale, the more powerful the twist, and vice versa. Last one. And then lower your leg straight down. Feel that your pelvis stays still as your leg goes down. Yeah, that was a lot of work for your quads probably. So now just notice your 2 legs, how they might feel comparatively. And then when you're ready, your left leg comes up. Block goes the wide way behind your thigh, and you'll push your thigh into your block to straighten your elbows. Hold it there so your hip joint doesn't move, and then lift and lower your shin as far as you can. And again, if you're right side dominant, it would be normal for your right leg to be more flexible and your left leg to feel a little bit tighter. That left leg ends up being kind of our standing leg and our stabilizing leg, where the right leg can be more our gesturing leg. So they're going to feel different from each other. Keep your leg up this time and circle your foot around. Circle the other direction. And then point and flex a few times. Then you'll hold your point. We'll go into that leveraging tree. Might be different on this side. So you'll just keep your leg reaching into the block until your head and neck and shoulders start coming up. Stay with it. And see if you can get up through that sticky spot. Once you're up, you come back down. Push your leg enough into the block that your elbows are held straight. So there's that push-pull sensation, that oppositional energy that helps us get the movement all the way through. As much as possible, you keep your standing leg pressing down. Notice where it tends not to want to press down. Last one coming up. And then go back down. Once you reach the bottom, you'll place your block to the side of your left hip and just practice 3 times where you abduct your leg out away from center as far as you can take it without it resting on the block, and then bring it back up. Take it again, abduct it, and pick it up. Once more. And bring it up, and then you can go into your single leg circle by rotating the pelvis, send your leg down and around, and up the other side. Breathing in to start the twist, breathing out to come around. You might feel the block, right, but you're not giving weight to the block. 2 more. Check in with your neck and shoulders, make sure they're not helping you too much. Change direction, open the leg as far as you can without leaning on the block, and then take it down and around. Three more. Perhaps try exhaling a little sooner to help support the twist and the lifting of your leg. One more time. And then once you reach the top, lower your legs straight down. Feel your 2 legs on the mat. Hopefully they're a little more even now. And then roll yourself up to sitting for rolling like a ball. You can take your block in front of your thighs and then put your elbows on the block. And then try to find your balance. So you not only have to push your elbows down, but you also have to pick your knees up into the block, right? So you're gonna feel your hip flexors, which is fine. You're gonna try a few like that. It's hard on the way up to keep a hold of our block. Try about 3. Exhale sooner. And then take the block behind your knees. Hold your ankles and do 3 or 4 more. And just notice the difference. What does the block placement make more difficult? And what does it make more easy? 1 more. Remove your block. Come down onto your back. You're gonna pick up your right leg, put your block the long way against your leg, and put your right elbow against it. So elbow and knee are pushing into each other. Raise your left arm and leg towards the ceiling. Now you're gonna take an inhale. As you inhale, the left arm goes back, the left leg goes forward as far as they can go, and you exhale back up. Everything on the mat stays as is. Inhale, they go back away from each other. Exhale, they come up. The ribs and the pelvis do not change. 1 more time. Exhale up. So you might feel really deep trunk muscles working to stabilize you. Try the other side. I know it's not very much fun. Elbow and knee pulling into each other on the left. Right arm and leg up to the ceiling. As you inhale, arm goes back, legs go forward, block gets squeezed. Exhale up. Don't forget to squeeze the block. Inhale, glide the limbs away from center. Exhale, pick them up. 1 more time. And lift them up. Okay. Put your block to your side. Put your hands behind your head. Scoop up your elbows. Lift your head, neck, and shoulders. We're gonna go into our twist here. So we're taking our stomach series out of order. You're gonna rotate up and beyond and switch sides, up and beyond. Inhale to turn. Exhale to turn. Try not to fall back through the middle. Go 2 more in each direction. Last one. And then roll back down. Now you're going to take your block behind your shoulder blades, where it was for the block sit up, so above your bra line. And you're going to curl your tail and hold the backs of your legs, or back leg close to your sit bones. So flex your ankles. You're going to take a heel slide all the way down to straight, but your pelvis does not change, and you don't change on your block. And then you slide back in. If you can't get both legs in, do more 12 o'clock tilt. And again, slide your legs. Figure out how you're going to move your legs forward without dragging on your back. Because when we get to teaser, we need to know how to do that. 2 more. Slide and pull. So we're taking the leg weight away from double leg lower lift, and we're just feeling the mechanics of that movement. If you want to, try 1 or 2 with your hands behind your head. Block stays, pelvis stays, legs move. Last one. And then just rest your feet. Take a little back bend over the block since we've been doing a lot of abdominal work. And then get off the block. We'll go into scissors. So remember when you had the block behind your thigh and you did that leveraging tree, how much you were pushing your leg forward? Same concept for scissors. So you want to curl up so you can hold a little higher, but you're not so much pulling your leg to you as you're pushing your leg forward to get up. And then you have to try to stay up as you switch. Push your leg forward to help you up. So there's a little moment of truth in there when you let go of your leg. You can't fall back, but you got to stay where you are. So just play with that feeling. You have to go up to your leg. It's not that you have to pull your leg to you. Last one. And then rest your head. Roll yourselves all the way up to sitting. For spine stretch, we're going to sit on top of the block, even if we have long, flexible hamstrings. So just kind of noodle around on your pelvis for a minute and just figure out if you tend to sit not on your sit bones. Some of us are a little more slung back and we tend to sit on our tailbone. Some of us are a little more extended and we sit more forward towards our pubic bone. Tailbones and pubic bones are not to sit on. Sit bones are to sit on, so see if you can just feel sit bones really planted and then take your arms straight forward. Inhale, get taller. Exhale, tip your chin, reach forward. Keep pushing your sit bones down. So you're not going to rock off of them. And then roll back up. Lift your chest up through your arms. Take it again. Head, shoulders, and ribs. And then roll back up. If you would like less bend in your spine, for whatever reason, you could do more of a flat back and do a reach. And that's perfectly good and legitimate. Last two. Lower half is active all the time. And last one. Fully exhale. And then fully inhale. Come off your block. You're gonna put your block the wide way between your calves. Not your ankles, but your calves. Hold the backs of your knees today for the first few. Lean back a little bit so you can float your feet. And just same as our tree stretches, pick up your shins and put them back down. Thigh bones don't move. Hip joints don't move. Arm joints don't move. Only our knee joints move. Once we're where we're going to get with straight legs, curl your tail to roll back. Exhale, come up. Do that again. Tail rolls under. Head curls up. One more like that, then you can move your arms if you want to. But everything else should stay the same, even if you're holding higher up. So it's that same oppositional pushing and pulling of legs and arms into each other. Last one. Good. Come onto your back. You're gonna put your block the wide way underneath your sacrum, under your pelvis. And then you're gonna pick your legs up. You want your thigh bones vertical, even if your knees have to be bent. Arms can be out or down along your sides. You're gonna do a little tip to the right. It's not gonna be super far because you don't wanna feel like you're gonna fall off your block. And then come back. And then a little tip to the left. And come back before it goes too far. One more like that, to the right. And back. To the left. And back. So we could say we were going from 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock with our feet, right? So now take your feet forward towards 6 o'clock, just a bit. And then take your feet back towards your head, 12 o'clock. And just do that glide forward. Doesn't have, I mean, you could go all the way and extend your hips all the way, but you don't have to. And then come back up. One more like that. So we made a cross, right? 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock, and now 12 o'clock to 6 o'clock. Then bring your legs to vertical. Now you're going to do a little diagonal reach. So you're going to take them towards the right corner of your mat. And then back up. And then take them to the back left corner of your mat. So it'd be like 4 o'clock to 2 o'clock or something. Front right corner. Back to center. Rear left corner. And then reverse it. So now you're going to go front left corner. Back to center. Rear right corner. So we're tracing diagonal line across our clock. Some of these places might feel like you haven't really visited them before, because sometimes they get skipped in corkscrew. So finish that cross. So we've kind of gone 6 directions in our clock, right? So now just try your corkscrew and see if you can go all the way around. We're going to go over to 3 o'clock, 4, 5, 6 o'clock is down low, 7, 8, 9 o'clock is to the left, all the way to 12 o'clock. And then reverse it. And just notice for yourself which numbers are clear and easeful and which numbers are a little more blurry. One more each way. Now, because we're on a block, it's not a huge clock, right? But we're kind of keeping it contained so we can be really precise about all those numbers. Once you finish your clock to the left, bend your knees, pull your knees into your chest, and just let your low back round. It's sort of like an upside down child's pose here. If that feels good. You can also hold your feet. There's a yoga pose called happy baby pose. Sometimes people like that for a low back stretch. And then bring the soles of your feet together. Take that down to the mat. And because your hips are elevated, that might open up your hip flexors in kind of a new way. And then separate your feet so you can stand into your feet to lift your hips off the block. Roll up for saw, seated on your block again. So perched right on those sit bones. Open your arms. Wiggle your fingers so that you can see them in your periphery. If you can't see them, your arms are too far back. So get them out where you can kind of see them. And then rotate your trunk to the right. Turn that back shoulder in so that you can reach over your leg and lift your back shoulder higher. And then come back up. Rotate the other way. Internally rotate the back arm. And come up. It's the lift of that back shoulder that's actually going to help you twist more up through your thoracic spine. Lots of different planes of movement here, but remember to reach your sit bones down. One more each way. You can exhale to facilitate the twist. Inhale to lift. And then you're going to come off the, actually, don't come off the block yet. Bend your knees. Pull your heels as close to your block as you can. Right? Now reach your arms forward. Lean your trunk forward, lean your shins forward, and see if you can unweight the block a little bit. If you need to pick your heels up, it's okay. And then lower your heels and sit on the block. So sometimes it's hard to get into this deep squat because we feel like we're going to fall over. So now you have the block there to catch you. So you just lean off the block, find that deep squat, and then come down. You have to change at your ankle joints. Shin bones have to travel forward over your feet to transfer your weight into that squat. Good, one more. You can also keep your fingertips on the ground, that's also fine. Good. So if a deep squat is tricky, that's kind of a hack for you. Then come onto your tummy for swan. You're gonna have your block down where your feet are, put it the widest way so that you can hold the block sides with your insteps. So that should give you, at least hip distance apart between your feet. Stack your hands one on top of the other and set your forehead on top of your hands. Float your forehead off your hands barely. Look forward as far as your neck will extend. Take it back down. Take that again. Looking forward. Look down, rest your head. This is called baby head sometimes. It makes me cough sometimes when I do it. Then bring your forehead down. Put your hands underneath your shoulders. Squeeze your feet into the block and scoop your tail under. Float up your head, look forward through that baby head action, and then start to rise. And just notice if you're able to stay connected to your block. If you can't, it's okay. And then come down. The higher you go, typically the harder it is to stay squeezing into the block. But maybe it will make your hips work a little differently. Elbows do not have to straighten. If it feels good, they can. And then come back down. Stack your hands again underneath your forehead. We're going to do a double leg lift here. So actually rest your head for a sec. Take your fingertips and see if you can feel at the sides of your hips, your sticky outy bones. Those are the tops of your femurs that stick out to the sides. That's where your hip joints are. Way up at your waist is where your lumbar joints are, right? So we're going to practice lifting the block, lifting both legs up, and I want you to try to be really clear about lifting at your hip joints, not rocking on your low back. Okay? So you're going to keep your head on your hands. Pelvis stays still, ribs stay still, and you try to pick both legs up. They're not going to lift very far. And then come back down. But you're lifting at your hip joints where your sticky outy bones are. Otherwise known as your trochanters. One more. Then add on to it, you lift your legs, you bend your knees with the block between your feet. You straighten your legs, you put them down. So from the hip joints, deeply bend. If you start to cramp, stay in motion. One more. And then come up onto your forearms for a single leg kick. So you don't need to hold your block for this. You're just going to lift your chest. You'll kick your right heel twice. Extend the knee. Left heel twice. Extend the knee. You can float your thigh bone off the mat if that's helpful. I actually think it is more helpful for me to lift my thigh because it keeps my pelvis more quiet. One more each way. But it does take more quad stretch to lift your leg. And then since your block is there, just leave it there. Push back into a child's pose and sit right down onto the block. If you have tight knees, you could elevate your block a little bit more. So your hips are higher than your feet. That's another little hack you can do with your block. And then when you're ready, you're going to come up to sitting for neck pull. You're going to hold the block between your feet, the medium width, but tall. So that your whole foot, ideally, whole foot is connected to the block. Even your big toes, inner big toes. And then you make your way down onto your back. If you have bunions, your big toes are not going to be touching the block, but just reach them toward the block. Hands can go behind your legs, and you'll start to lift and curl up. Use your hands as much as you need to. When you can release your hands, they go behind your neck, and you flex deeply in. Inhale to sit up tall. Extend your arms forward, and then exhale, pivot back behind your pelvis. Try to keep your back straight for as long as possible. And then take it again. Push your legs down as you roll up. Exhale into your deep curl. Inhale, lift it up. Press your big toes into the block. Exhale, hinge back. You can always hold your legs. 2 more times. So you're curling a little more tightly than you did in roll up. And then the return to the floor is different, right? Because we're hinging at the hip like we did in our block setup. 1 more time. Lift and curl back up. Hands behind head. Inhale to rise. Exhale to hinge. Now we did shoulder bridge before with our feet on the block. So now we're going to do it with the block between our knees. I would take it the medium way between your knees. Not really your knees, but like the lower part of your thigh. Press your arms down. Do your 12 o'clock tilt. So you tip your pelvis first, and then it starts to rise. Your ribs only lift because your hips lift. So your ribs are not going to precede everything else. And then you roll back down. Chin stays up the whole way. You should land at 12 o'clock and then roll through to neutral, or even beyond to 6 o'clock if that feels good. And then you go again, tip to lift. Roll back down sequentially to the bottom. It should feel quite a bit easier than when the feet were on the block. One more time. Notice those shoulder blades drawing together a little bit as you come up. Go back down. And then roll yourself all the way back up to sitting one more time up on top of your block. Legs come together, ankles are flexed, big toes are pulling towards each other. You're perched right on top of your sit bones. You're gonna put your palms together like you're saying your prayers. Hands will be right in front of your chest. Inhale, get tall. Exhale, twist. Keep your hands right where they are in front of your chest. Come back to center. Twist the other way. Now take your palms together, but arms straight out in front of you. Twist. And back to center. Twist. And back to center. If possible, take your arms up overhead with palms together. I have to hook my thumbs to keep my arms together, but maybe you don't have to. And then you're going to twist again. You're going to feel like you can hardly twist at all, but that's how far you twist. And then come back down. Take your block away. Come onto your back for spine lift. So you're going to sit on top of your block. Raise your legs. They can be bent. You're going to cross your ankles and your feet. Double hook. And then try to pull your legs apart. They're not going to separate because you got that double hook, but it's going to activate your outer hips a little bit. Tip your pelvis so you're rocking towards the back edge of your block. Maybe you can elevate a little bit away from the floor and then come back. Now for me with the block there, I don't really elevate, but I get a little lighter. And come down. One more, pull those legs apart. And then switch sides. Double hook. This probably feels funny because it's the less habitual way. You went the easy way first. You have to do a little tip to try and lift. Come down. Again, lift. Or at least unweight slightly, right? One more time. And then come off the block. You're just going to set the block aside for side kicks. Legs are slightly forward of your hips. Head can be up or down. You can even take your block and put your head on it if that's more comfy for you. If you don't like having your elbow that way. Lift your top leg hip height and then swing it to the front. Point your toes, pull to the back. Push your standing leg into the mat. One more. Legs come together, turn out, kick up high, pull back down. Inhale to lift, exhale to lower. Keep your knees straight and only go as far as it can stay straight. Last one. Turn your leg parallel again, lift it, do small circles. Try not to roll on your hips at all. Change direction. And then heel to the front, toe to the back. Good. Roll onto your tummies for grasshopper. Remember where your hip joints are. That's where you pick up your legs from. The legs rise, and you're going to clap quickly for 3 breaths. Could float your head if that feels like better alignment. And then come back down and switch sides. So legs slightly forward, pick your leg up. You're gonna kick it forward and point it to the back. Push your bottom leg into the mat. Last one. And then legs together. Turn out, kick up high, flex to pull down. Two more. And then parallel leg for your small circles. So the leg is lifting and circling, but the pelvis isn't rotating. Circle the other way. And then a few rainbows, heel and toe. Last one. Bring yourselves up to sitting for seal. You can get your block out of the way. Arms come down and underneath your ankles. Elbows are pushing your knees apart, but knees are squeezing back in. So if that oppositional energy wakes up your hip muscles, you're gonna clap 3 times, roll back and clap. Roll up. Inhale back. Exhale up. Go 3 or 4 more, just massage your spine. Last one. And be done. Nice work, everybody.